Welcome in. This is College SportsCast with a huge win by Kentucky football today over the sixth-ranked Ole Miss Rebels in Oxford. All right, guys, welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. I've got John Hammonds on here with me tonight. Normally, I do this post-game show with Talking Kentucky and Coleman Scott, but today he went to Oxford and he was at the game, and it was pandemonium afterwards, and they were all celebrating the win and everything, and he could not, his phone was about dead. And anyways, so he decided that he didn't think he could be able to do it. So I've got Hammonds on with me tonight, and we are going to do the post-game show. What's up, Hammonds? Pretty good day, right?
Yeah, pretty good day to be a Wildcat fan, that's for sure.
Pretty good day. Look at that score, guys. Kentucky 20, the sixth-ranked Ole Miss Rebels 17. This was in Oxford, and a huge upset by the Wildcats today at the Grove. And John, I mean, this is a win coming off the Georgia and then Ohio last week. You know, we played Georgia to the wire.
Yep.
Could have possibly had a shot or two. And then today, when it came time to take a shot, we took a shot. And I'm so glad and thankful. But we'll get to that. What's your first impressions on how we started this game? And, you know, we took a 10-7 lead at halftime. How do you think the first half went in this game?
I mean, you know, Kentucky couldn't have asked for, to me, a better performance against a really good Ole Miss team who's known for putting up a lot of yards. To me, it was just all over the board. You know, they took advantage of a Rebel team who commits a lot of penalties. You know, and they made a lot of discipline plays on defense. There was a lot of sacks. They put them in a lot of long situations.
Tanner Nichols played really good today.
Aside from the first drive of the game, everything else went really well. Kentucky only had 3 penalties. Rebels had 8 for 53 yards. It was a really big response from a team that had been struggling this year with penalties, but they stayed poised in a hostile environment and got a big road win. And I thought, which we'll get on to it more later in the day, but I thought Dane Key played a big role in this game. Now, Varian Brown had the big long throw on 4th down late in the game, but I felt like Dan Key had some big catches as well.
Raphael Little, is this the Raphael Little?
It's the Raphael Little.
All right, man. What's up, Raphael Little? Glad to see you here. Go Cats, very big win. Love to see this. Love that Raphael Little is with us. Ex-running back from UK. If you guys don't know or don't remember, it's been a few years since Raphael Little played for us, but he is the ex-running back here for Kentucky Wildcats, and we appreciate him being on the show. Had to put him up. So, yes, go Cats, very big win. Here's my thing. Does it seem like Stoops likes playing on the road better than he does at home?
I think he does. And I'm just going to go and say this. I know people probably want me to say this, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. Mark Stoops, I apologize. I've said some things.
A few times you need to.
I've said some things that I shouldn't have said recently. And today he got me back kind of off the wagon. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, Brad. The 4th down call in your own end.
We're going to get to that. I promise. I love – y'all have no idea. I'm so excited about that play, man. You
with
have
the
no
game
idea.
with the game on the line, because if you give that ball back to Ole Miss, you might not get the ball back. They might take that ball and they
100%.
run the clock out. And he hits.
But you flip that. We're at the 20-yard line. If you don't make that play, the game's over. I mean, because they don't even have to move the ball, and the game's over. If you don't make that play, that was the gutsiest play call by Mark Stoops ever. And on top of that, at the post-game press conference, Lane Kiffin even said during his post-game press conference, Lane Kiffin was like, it was so out of character. It was a great call. Nobody was expecting it, including me. The go route on that was an unbelievable play call, gutsy as hell. And if you are a Kentucky fan, all that stuff y'all said about Mark Stoops after the Georgia game, y'all need to take it back. And that was a hell of a play call. And I got a highlight for that one a little bit later. I'll get to it. Tanner, JQ Hardaway played an amazing game. DJ Waller come in for the injured Hairston and started and played lights out. I was very impressed. And Nichols as well on the corner. You put them with Hairston, this defense is special, John. Special.
They are. And I've said it. This league, nobody can take a week off. Every week there's going to be a game where you're going to have to play your best to win. And I think Kentucky done that this week. They've come back from getting blown out by South Carolina, taking Georgia to the brink. Now they've upset Ole Miss. It's a big win for Mark Stoops, maybe the biggest of his tenure there. And it's a total shift from the game against South Carolina. There's now hope for this team, with the defense, the offense maybe getting a little bit better. I'm going to say something, Brad, that a lot of people don't probably think about, but this bye week, you lose that game in heartbreaking fashion, you go into the bye week 2-3, which Ole Miss was on the verge of going down the field and scoring on that last drive.
Huge. I mean, it's absolutely huge.
You go into the bye week 3-2.
So talking Kentucky, this is probably Coleman. I just want to pause real quick. This is probably Coleman. He's driving or fixing to drive back home from Oxford. He was at the game. He is a good luck charm. I've already told him he's got to go to the rest of the games, the rest of the year.
you got to fly back to Lexington, back and forth to go to these games.
I mean, come on now.
But I think going into the bye week 3-2 instead of 2-3 changes everything, because now you got Vandy coming to town after the bye next week. You got, I believe you go to Florida, and then you play Auburn and Tennessee in that regard. So now you change the whole dynamic of the season. Now you beat Georgia 2 weeks ago. We're talking about a Kentucky team that has a weird resume that could possibly play for the college football playoff with that loss on the skims of losing to South Carolina. But we didn't beat Georgia. We did go down and we beat Ole Miss. And it's a great win for this program, a great win for the fans, even a bigger win for Mark Stoops. Even in the post-game press conference with Molly McGrath at the end of the game, you could tell a little bit of emotion was relieved off of Mark Stoops, because he's felt a little bit of pressure.
Oh, he was so emotional. It was great to see. It was great to see that he was that fired up and emotional about it.
And he knew that he had to win a game like this. And he even told the sideline reporter, he looked at Brad White and he said, "Brad, we just need a break. We need something to go our way." And they did.
They Clyde. Shut down the number one offense in the country today. Over 600 yards. They only had 353. They'd been averaging over 600 yards in their 4 games prior to this game. We held them to 353. They only had 14 first downs. They were like 1 of 10 or something on the third downs. And Kentucky had 22 first downs. We did the same thing to Georgia, had like 23 to 12 or something like that first downs. This defense is special, guys. I mean, absolutely special.
I just want to shout out somebody that played unbelievable today. Octavius Oxendine. He had two sacks today. They stifled Lane Kiffin. Like, this offense was a point a minute offense, like scoring at will, and you hold them to 17 points. I mean, that's impressive now. Deion Walker played great. They held Ole Miss to 92 rushing yards. Kentucky I thought Vandergrift had an efficient game. He found some receivers. I
thought he played great today, to be honest with you. Outside of holding the ball a couple of times too long, but outside of that, I thought he played great today.
Now, there was a couple drives where I thought he held the ball. When he got sacked on the last drive where it was 13-10, where we could have drove down. He was driving a little bit, and he got sacked, and they had to punt the ball. But that's going to happen. He's learning the offense. He's learning new things. Get into this bye week, figure things out, get the offense continue to get better, and get ready for Vanderbilt at home in a couple of weeks. Which I didn't know what to say, Brad. Usually you have that moment where you run around the house and you wake the dogs up, you wake the neighbors up. I didn't know what to think. I just sat there in disbelief. Like, we just went into Oxford and won. That it didn't sit with me for at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
All right, so I am going to get to something here that kind of bothered me today. I know we're all happy and everything. I wasn't pleased with the Gavin Wimsatt play calling. I know we mostly went away from that in the second half, which was a good thing. I thought Brock and this offense and Dane Key was really kind of going today and playing well. And it seemed like every time we put Wimsatt in today, it was a 2-yard gain or a 1-yard gain. Everybody in the stadium knew he was running. He didn't even attempt to drop back and look like he was passing at all. And I
will say though, Brad,
it disrupts. I think it disrupts the flow in the offense.
I will say on the last drive,
and to be quite honest with you, we got a lucky bounce because he fumbled inside the 5.
And Josh
Caddis to win this game.
And Josh Caddis was there to recover it. I'm going to take it back a couple years ago when we had this same
and a lucky bounce.
Where we had this same instance. We was on the ropes. We was trying to figure things out, and Will Levis hit Barry and Brown for a big down the field play. Vandergrift had that big play today, and then we couldn't finish in that game. But today we finished.
Well, we also had a touchdown taken away from us with 58 seconds ago, 2 years ago, or we would have beat them then.
On a what was it, a false start penalty? I think was it a false?
It was a Dane Key touchdown.
It was a false start penalty, I believe. Yeah, but
yeah. 2 years ago, we had a touchdown with 58 seconds called back, and then the next play they strip sacked Will Levis. But we were close 2 years ago to beating this Ole Miss team with Jackson Dart 2 years ago. Ivy on defense was there. There was quite a few players that was playing today that was in that game, especially for Ole Miss.
I'm going to tell you,
I thought as well. So
I'm going to tell you another key that I thought in this game was kind of big. Ole Miss lost this game up front. Let's just say where it was at. They lost this game up front, which makes me wonder how they're going to handle the Georgias, the South Carolinas next week.
It was a great game, Madeline. Glad to have you here at College Sportscast.
South Carolina's got some edge rushers in Kennard and Stewart. They was able to dictate pace. They kept Ole Miss from, making big plays.
Tanner, I absolutely think that 6-2 going into Tennessee is in play. I really do. I mean, with the next 3 games that we have after the bye, I think 6-2 going into Tennessee is in play. Now, we have to win some games at home At home. Do you hear me, Stoops? At home. We got to win some games.
Now I will say on what I was saying, Ole Miss had 2 or 3 plays that Kentucky broke down in coverage in the secondary, and they got lost at times. But that's going to happen when you're playing football, and it happened today at times. But they did enough to win this game, and I just thought up front they just, you know. And here's another stat that really blows my mind with Ole Miss. Brad, are you ready for this one? This is going to blow your mind with their offense.
All right, go ahead.
Are you ready for it? Ole Miss only converted. Ole Miss only converted one. Ole Miss only converted 1 first down today. Third down.
They did.
Only one on third down. Only converted 1 on third down. Yes.
Yeah, conversion. Yep. All right. So Jerry Carter is bringing this up.
Yeah, that's another.
And I got to talk about this for a minute. There was a lot. It wasn't just the one play. It seemed like there was 5-6 times that Ole Miss players basically was faking injury. There was one that was blatant fake injury, and they even pointed out on ESP, on ABC and ESPN today. But something's got to be done with this, right? Like, that's just, I mean, come on now. That's terrible, I think. Can we not throw a flag on a team for faking injuries? Because I think it needs to be done.
The one that really got me was when Jackson Dart was standing next to the running back, and he looks at him. Yeah.
It's blatant. Yeah.
He literally looked at him and told him to go down. Like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were getting ready to line up, and he just said, go down. Like, he waved him down, like, go down, go down. You know, I mean, you're talking about those are, I mean, just egregious. I mean, like, come on now. You can't let that just go on in the game. That's got to be a flag. I mean, you've got to change some rules and make that a flag. That's all. I mean, plain and simple. That's terrible, if you ask me. I mean, for real. Throw a flag. And I know it's not in the rule books, but you've got to change the rules to stop that crap, because that's
Oklahoma.
BS.
Oklahoma just beat Auburn on the road. Oklahoma just beat Auburn on the road.
Okay, they were down.
Hugh Freeze
come back and scored a couple of late touchdowns or something.
Hugh Freeze, you've lost 3 in a row at home.
Auburn's going to be fit to be tied. Seriously. The defense is incredible. I think we have a top 5 or 10 defense in the country, let alone SEC. So let's get to a little bit of stuff that happened here today. So first, I want to give a big shout out to Dane Key. I thought Dane Key played incredible today. First half was really amazing. Caught some over the middle. I mean, he had 8 or 9 catches, over 100 yards. I can't remember exactly what he wound up with. John may have the stats there to kind of back this up. But, you know, a big, big shout out to Dane Key. Barry and Brown stepped up when we needed him the most. We'll get to that with a highlight in just a second. What do you say, John? What about Dane Key today?
I thought Dane Key played absolutely tremendous. I thought he did a lot of great things. I thought there was a couple times where Vandergriff was getting pressured, and he saw him, and he got him to the sticks.
I picked up Oklahoma too.
And I'm going to say this. There was another play that I really enjoyed that I thought changed the momentum of the game, was when Ole Miss was driving for the game-time field goal. They had a sack on Jackson Dart. They was a little bit closer than what they was. They had a closer field goal, but they got a sack on Jackson Dart that pushed them kind of back to where it would be a longer field goal. And I thought that kind of changed things too. And then we had the offsides, and Ole Miss fumbled and we got it, which kind of screwed everything up. And guess who it was? It was Deion Walker of all people. He was just offsides. It happens. He had just one of those moments where he was over on the other side, and it just happens in a tight game like that. But I thought that was a big play in the game because it kind of forced them back to kick a longer field goal than what they would have had. But you want me to look at some,
and I'll get to that too. But
you want me to look at some of the stats for the game? Is that what you want me to look at real quick?
Hang on. Let me get to this highlight video first. So, all right. So this is the play of the game, if you ask me. A very gutsy call here at your own 20-yard line, 4th and 7, 3.5 minutes to go in this game. If you don't get this first down, the game's pretty much over. They're in scoring position at the 20-yard line already. And not only was it gutsy for this call to go for it, to run a go route when you could have just tried to get to 7 yards, to run a go route and to throw this bomb was beyond gutsy. But here's the play of the game.
Much better field position. Maybe this is just the old try to get him offside. No, it isn't. It's an Ole Miss blitz. It's one-on-one coverage. It's up for grabs and caught by Barryon Brown. Still on his feet. And all the way to the 17-yard line. John Saunders saved the touchdown. The longest play of the year by far for the Kentucky offense.
And how about the route by Barryon Brown? Said earlier, all it takes is one play for Brown to make a huge impact. He's been a little quiet today. He gets behind the defender, Hamilton, perfectly times the push off, reels it in, and the run after catch shows the explosiveness. Just an unbelievable dice roll on 4th and 8. And his playmaker, Brown, who's been outstanding the last few years for Kentucky, makes him right and has the Cats knocking on the door.
John, honestly, so far that's the play of the season.
It has to be.
Is it not?
You're on your own.
Not? I mean,
you're on your own end. You like you said, you could have just made like a little slant for Dan Key. You could have done anything. A back screen, but you do a go route to Barryon Brown down the sideline.
To run a go route there
takes a lot of guts.
Oh man, I mean, just drop the ball. And what a pass.
And I kind of want to
Barryon made a great catch, but honestly, what a pass.
And I kind of want to give a little bit of credit to Jamarian Wilcox today. That kid's going to be special, man. He's going to be a special back. Now he's not played as much
Love
as
that kid. I've been talking about him since last
Carnbay.
year.
He's not played as much as Carnbay. I mean, he's had little spouts where he's played some, but eventually he's going to get in there and he's going to be a special back for this team. Did you want me to go with the stats, the team stats today? I can read them off real quick. The team stats.
Hang on. We will. We'll go through that at the end here. But okay, I want to get to this. So that play led to Gavin Wimsatt coming in. After that play, we got it to the 5, and we got a great bounce that bounced into Josh Caddis's hands. And this is a close-up of just how important the bounce of that ball was. Here you go, guys.
Right place, right time. After Wimsatt was stripped of the ball by Trey Washington.
I mean,
that was
that play right there. Honestly, I mean, to have that play bounce, perfect tackle, ball bounced right to Josh Caddis's hands, and he fell into the end zone to take the lead. That was the game-winning touchdown right there. Of course, then the play you were talking about a little bit earlier, they drove the ball down. They had a big 4th and 11 play to a tight end and was in field goal range. And J.J. Weaver made a huge sack in this game. And the kid from Louisville, who is a great human being, continues to make plays for the Kentucky Wildcats.
First today. On 2nd and 10. Dart doesn't want to take a sack and out of field goal range. He gets knocked down back at the 39-yard line by J.J. Weaver. A 4-yard loss, and now they're on the fringe of field goal range.
Just a critical mistake there by Jackson Dart. Absolutely can't do it. You're in field goal range. The only thing you cannot.
And I'll say this on top of this, Jackson Dart is lucky that ball didn't come out because he was chasing him from behind.
It was very close to coming out.
That could have been really disastrous in that point.
Yeah, absolutely. That wasn't the last play, but that pushed them back. They had to try to get back into field goal range after that play right there. And, Jordan Lovett had an excellent open field tackle after this to keep them at a long field goal here. And then, guys, this is the winning play right here, the missed field goal by Ole Miss.
They do their job. That kick is no good. A low duck hook. And Kentucky is going to win in Oxford for the first time since 1978. What a win for Mark Stoops.
All right, guys, that's kind of the highlights that I got there towards the end. I'm new to doing all this and doing the highlights. I kind of had to figure some stuff out today. But I wanted to show at least some of those. That's kind of the main feel-good moments in the game there towards the end, and how Kentucky pulled this out in Oxford. All right, I will go back. We got a few more in here. We got George Ty that is commenting in here. I've seen you guys. Yeah, J.J. Weaver made an incredible play there at the end. It was fantastic to see. He continues to make plays when it counts. That's just who J.J. Weaver has been at Kentucky for a lot of years. This is year 6 for J.J. Weaver, and I can't do it on one hand like he can.
Oh, by the way,
just saying.
I just wanted you to know that Notre Dame beat Louisville in South Bend today, so my upset pick did not happen today.
Okay. I'll have to look at the scores here. So, but yeah, so that is how it kind of wrapped up. If you want to go through some stats now for the game, John, you can go through some stats.
Oh, by the way, Anthony Wireman said Stoops needs to come on the show and let you all know what's up.
Listen.
Goodness.
Wireman might think so, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a huge Stoops fan. I absolutely love this for Mark Stoops. Yeah, I love that he gets the big win, and this is a statement win. This is the beat the good teams win, and this is what I've been saying he must do, and he done it today.
And tell Wireman I did apologize at the beginning of the show. I apologize and told Mark Stoops I apologize because he made some plays today. Well, he didn't make no plays. He called some plays that really benefited Kentucky, and some of them was ballsy. That's all I'll say. You have to grow a pair in certain games, and he did today.
I'm telling you, that route was beyond guts. Yeah.
Okay, so
that was big.
There's some stats in here that it's going to kind of surprise you a little bit. On first downs, Kentucky had 22. Ole Miss had 14. Third down efficiency is what's going to blow your mind here. Kentucky was 4 of 16. Ole Miss was 1 of 10 on third downs. 1 of 10. Total yards.
But on Kentucky's 4 of 16, they also went 3 for 3 on fourth down.
Yep.
So
They did.
you put those 3 in, and they did really well. 7 of 16.
Total yards, Kentucky had 336. Ole Miss had 353. Ole Miss had 261 passing yards. Kentucky had 243. Rushing, Ole Miss had 92. Kentucky had 93. Ole Miss had 8 penalties for 53 yards. Kentucky had 3 penalties for 30 yards, which the penalties was a lot better this week. I thought they improved on the penalties. And the turnovers, Ole Miss had 1, and Kentucky had nothing. Time of possession.
Yeah.
Kentucky was 39 minutes and 43, and Ole Miss had 20 minutes and 17 seconds. Kentucky dominated the time of possession.
It was 2-1, basically 40 minutes to 20 minutes. Dominated the time of possession today. Shane, absolutely dominated.
So that's your stats for the day. Passing yards, Brock Vandagriff had 18 of 28 for 243 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Dart had 18 for 27, 261 yards and a touchdown. I thought Sumo Carnbay played really well. Trey Harris played well for Ole Miss. Dane Key had 8 receptions for 105 yards and a touchdown. And for Ole Miss, Henry Parrish Jr. had 13 carries, 62 yards and a touchdown. The running games for both sides was decent. Now, I will say that Henry Parrish had that big long run for Ole Miss that accounted for a lot of his yardage. But there was a couple plays that Kentucky broke down defensively in the secondary and in the middle. It's going to happen during the game. You're not going to stop them every time. There's going to be plays where you have breakdowns.
Listen, they were averaging – Ole Miss was averaging 248 rushing yards a game, and we held them under 100.
Yep.
We held them under 100, guys. I'm telling you, this defense is special. Matter of fact, we made Ole Miss today look like outside of Parrish, I'm not so sure about their running back situation. Everything else looks great, but outside of him, and he kind of got banged up today, and when he was out, they didn't look great in the running game. I didn't
brag. 17 point
defensive line. Yep.
17-point dogs. What do you say? 17-point dogs, you go in, you upset Ole Miss. I mean, couldn't ask for nothing better than that.
Listen, I wasn't calling for it. I'll be the first to say I wasn't calling for it, but I was hopeful, especially after the Georgia. I know that our defense was going to be there. I've been saying that. I wasn't sure that our offense could put up enough points. I'm going to be honest with you. Our defense played even better than I expected.
I'm going to say this real quick. This is why I love college football compared to the NFL, because the parity in college football, because you have one Saturday, you look completely lost. And the next Saturday, a team upsets somebody and it changes the team's season, which they do that in the NFL, but it's not, I don't think it's every bit consistent as college football is every single Saturday. And that's why I think the pageantry and the tradition and the way college football is every Saturday, I think that's why I love it more than I do the NFL, because each Saturday you don't know what you're going to get with these teams.
Here's the greatest thing about today for me, and I'll just be straight up honest with you guys. My birthday is in a few days. I'm turning an age that I'm not real proud to say. I'm still proud to be alive and everything else. But I have a birthday coming up here in a few days, all right?
Oh,
I've been around a while, okay? My dad was at the Penn State game in 1977. I was at UK games in the early 80s, 81, 82, 83. It was about the first years that I went to games. I've been a huge Kentucky football fan my entire life. On the road to win against a top 10 team like this, I've never seen it before. I know that Kentucky fans have this thing where they think now that Kentucky should just be great. Doesn't happen in college football. That's not the way it works. It's never been that way. It takes a lot of years and a lot of time to get there. And the job that Mark Stoops has done is simply amazing to me, to take this program from a team that lost 40-0 to Vandy. Okay, at home. I mean, the job that he's done is amazing. And I say all that to show you guys this. And this is from Kentucky football. This is Kentucky athletics. So I do want to put that out there. This is from them. But I want to show you guys this. All right, guys, that was from Kentucky football. Just shows you guys what it means before today. Since 1980, okay, Kentucky on the road versus top 10 teams was 1-34.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something.
Did you guys hear me? 1-34. That's how special today was.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something that really caught me during that video. You can hear Barry and Brown say, "I told you, coach. I told you, coach.
I told you, coach." Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Barry Ann did say that in that video. And like I said, that video is from Kentucky Athletics. So I want to make sure that I say that. I am covering a few sports in Kentucky Athletics. So hopefully that will be okay. But I did get that because this is an extremely special moment for Kentucky football, for Mark Stoops. And if you've been a fan as long as I've been a fan, and I know some of you have, you know just how special this is. You don't just get there. You don't just wake up from a doormat and 5 years later become king of college football. That's just not how it works. I hear people all the time that tell me, they ask me, well, how long does it take? How much time do they need? And I'm going to tell you right now, there are teams like Oregon who have been trying to climb the mountain of college football for 20, 25 years, and they can't get to the top. They still have not been able to get to the top of the mountain. And it takes a long time to get there in college football, to climb the mountain. And this is the type of win that it's going to take to get Kentucky there. He's got a great class coming in, getting his hind end beat badly by South Carolina in game 2 is a loss that recruits are going to be, I don't know about that. Playing the way we've played against Georgia and Ole Miss and getting the win what I said about the Georgia game is I loved it, but it doesn't matter because we still got the L. Today, we got the win. It matters.
Yeah.
It matters.
And I say this,
we come out on top with the W.
and I say this to say that a game like this changes recruiting and everything. Like now you got, you win games like this against these top teams, you start getting players noticing that stuff. And they're thinking, well, I want to go play at Kentucky now. They're starting to win games that they used to not win. And you had mentioned your age with your birthday. Happy early birthday, by the way, Brad Harvey. But my dad was a junior.
Thank you, man.
Was in high school. Dad was a junior in high school last time they beat Penn State. That should tell you something.
Well, my dad was a young man. Okay. He was a young man. He was like 25, 26 years old. He's 73. If he lives to November, he'll be 74 this year. And still a huge, huge Kentucky fan. So I've been doing this. My dad took me to games. Like I said, as a young boy, I can remember going to the Tennessee games. Matter of fact, that's the reason why I hate Tennessee, is because every year Dad would take me to the Kentucky-Tennessee game every other year when it was at home. And every damn year I'd have to deal with them stupid-ass fans being in the stands. And that's the reason why, for the passion in me, y'all have no idea how much I cannot stand Tennessee football. Y'all just don't know. But anyways, that's another story for another day. They're not playing today. So, well, Shane, I'm beginning to despise Shane Beamer as well. So maybe he's just a curse, Mark Stoops' curse. I don't know. We can't figure that guy out for some reason.
I will say that I'm thankful that we got a bunch on that. Like we had 32 watching at one point today. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yep. We had a bunch on tonight. It's good to see. Coleman, we missed you doing this. I know you had fun today. Coleman takes calls. I don't have the setup for all that. So normally on these post games, we take calls with fans. And I know some of you guys would have loved to call in today with Coleman and stuff. He is he's going to be at the game 2 weeks from now. We have a bye week coming up. And he's going to be at the game in Lexington against Vandy.
I'm
not sure if we're going to work something out for then.
I want to say this about that. You got a bye week coming up, and Stoops has not been great coming out of a bye. You got Vanderbilt coming to town, which don't get me wrong, Vanderbilt's a much improved team,
especially coming off of a loss. He's not been great coming out of a bye.
And Vanderbilt's a good team. They're much improved, but you can't let this be your high and then come on to a low and lose to Vanderbilt. You just can't do it. You just can't let that you can't let that happen.
Nope. It's a home game. Listen, guys, I've been saying all year, if you've been watching me talking about Kentucky football, you got to win home games. That's why I was so pissed off after South Carolina. And if y'all was on here for my rant after that game, you will understand what I was talking about, because I was very venting and ranting after that game, because you got to win home SEC games. We got 2 more left. We're 0-2. You can't lose them. You got Vandy and Auburn coming. You can't lose them. And I'm going to be honest with you.
Wait a minute. We got Florida
We
after
have to win in the swamp again against Florida.
We got Florida after Vanderbilt.
I know, but the 2 home games are Vandy and Auburn.
Yeah, Vandy and Auburn. Yeah,
I know, but the 2 home games are Vandy and Auburn.
Yeah.
The next 2, we have 2 home SEC home games left. It's Vandy and Auburn. We have Florida in between, yes. But those are 3 games. If we take care of business and handle our business and show that what we've done against Georgia and Ole Miss is not a fluke and that we are that team. Those are 3 wins. And like somebody said up there, very realistic, we could be sitting at 6-2 going to Tennessee, despite losing to South Carolina in game 2 of the season the way we did.
That game
So
eats it.
That's the outlook. John,
that game still eats at me.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to talk about the rest, but the outlook for the upcoming schedule in October, that's what it looks like. We have a bye week, then we have Vandy, we have at Florida, and we have Auburn. Those are the next 4 weeks.
Those are winnable
games.
Those are winnable games. Did you want me to go over some of the scoreboard while we're here, so let fans know what's going on around the country a little bit? The scoreboard. I mean, there's
we can go over the scoreboard real quick. Yeah.
I
will say this. I was sad to see, before you get to that real quick, hang on, before you get to that real quick, Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, who are right down the road from me, minutes away, played an awesome game today against Boston College, led the entire game pretty much. Was up 17-7 at halftime, was up 20-14 late in the fourth quarter against Boston College, who was ranked 2 weeks ago, beat FSU, and FSU scored. I mean, Boston College scored a late touchdown and beat them 21-20. So the Hilltoppers had a tough loss today. I will say that.
3 minutes to go in the game.
All right.
Texas is up 35-13 over Mississippi State. Mississippi State was pretty. They was competitive today for a little while, but Texas kind of pulled away. This one's the one that's really shocking to me. Colorado is up 20 at UCF. 41-21.
That was a little shocking to me.
With 5 minutes to go.
A little. Not a ton, but a little.
Not a ton, but a little bit. Yeah. I'll just go over the finals. Kentucky beat Ole Miss like we saw, 2017. Michigan beat Minnesota 27-24. USC beat Wisconsin 38-21.
That's a worrisome game there.
Notre Dame beat Louisville 31-24. Kansas State whipped Oklahoma State 42-20 at home, which I thought, I don't know.
That was a beatdown.
It was. Oklahoma beat Auburn 27-21. BYU beat Baylor 34-28. Texas A&M beats Arkansas 21-17. Indiana beats Maryland 42-28. Nebraska beats Purdue 28-10. UConn 47-3 over Buffalo. Boston College, like you said, beat Western 21-20. NC State beat Northern Illinois 24-17. Syracuse beat Holy Cross 42-14. Navy beat UAB 41-18. Tulane beat South Florida 45-10. James Madison beat Ball State 63-7. Sam Houston beat Texas State 40-39. Miami, Ohio beat Massachusetts 23-20. And Louisiana beat Wake Forest 41-38 at Wake Forest. TCU beat Kansas on the road 38-27. UNLV beats Fresno State 59-14 with their new quarterback. Central Michigan beats San Diego State 22-21. Georgia Southern beats Georgia State 38-21. Marshall beats Western Michigan 27-20. Ohio beats Akron 30-10. And Eastern Michigan beat Kent State 52-33. And that's your updated.
There you go.
And games going on right now.
There's a rundown scoreboard.
Duke's up 21-20 with 2 minutes to go in the fourth. UTSA is behind with 4 minutes to go against East Carolina, 27-20. And that's pretty much it right now for big games up until Alabama and Georgia play. So,
Jonathan, we talked about it all afternoon or all evening here. Huge bomb there. Not just going for it, but that go route was like gutsy as hell, to be honest. So yeah, agree with you 100%. Yeah, Ole Miss. I mean, basically they've been averaging 50 some points a game. So, yeah. So Georgia and Bama is fixing to come on. I want everybody to enjoy the rest of the night here watching
Brad,
college football, knowing that Kentucky has gotten a huge win.
I tell people all the time, when you win on Saturday, watching these other games make it more fun because the other team, you've not lost.
And it's going to be so enjoyable to sit down and to watch this Georgia and Bama game. I've been looking forward to it anyway, but to know that we got the early win today and we've already talked about it and had fun and everything else here. So, it's huge.
I wanted to say something.
The early win, and I want to thank everybody that come on. We had quite a few people on, a lot of people commenting. You guys, Raphael Little came by for just a minute, made a comment. The ex running back for Kentucky, Raphael Little, he has been on here once or twice before, but it was great to see him back on here after such a big win and commenting. So got to throw that out.
I'm going to say
Jerry,
this.
Clyde, Shane, George, everybody.
I'm going to say this real quick. You want to know something that really made me happy? I wouldn't say it made me happy, but it kind of was watching the Ole Miss fans and the reactions when that missed field goal happened. They was absolutely stunned. Like they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to think.
Yep.
It was just like, what?
I put it on as a show cover for this show. I put it as a show cover, part of it for this show.
Yeah.
A couple of the girls with their mouths like, all right, guys, we had fun. It was fun today. We got a huge W, huge win in Oxford, Mississippi. The Cats win 20-17. And there it is, 20-17. We have a bye week next week. So next week we get to enjoy college football without worrying about a win or a loss in the first weekend of October. So we do have that bye next week. So we will not do a post-game show next week after football for week 6. But we will be back. We will do something, whether it's me or Coleman and I together, because he is going to the Vandy game, like I said. So he's going to back-to-back games here. But we will see you guys after the Vandy game in a couple of weeks for our post-game show. Now, this week on College SportsCast, look for our Big Fuss show on Tuesday night. And then we're going to do a special basketball preview special this week. I don't know what day I'm going to run it just yet, but stay tuned. I will figure that out in a day or two and post about it. And we are going to talk about women's and men's preseason preview for Kentucky basketball. I am covering women's Kentucky basketball this year. So we are going to do a show possibly each week and do a little bit of basketball talk here at College SportsCast for Kentucky basketball. We will include men's and women's in our show for the special. So just want to throw that out there. Hope you guys have a great weekend and go Big Blue. Go Cats, right?
Go Cats, yeah.